Thank you for taking the time to watch this webinar. My name is Emma Mamo and I'm Head of Workplace Wellbeing at Mind, the mental health charity. Mind provides advice and support to empower anyone experiencing a mental health problem. It also campaigns to improve services, raise awareness and promote understanding of mental health. Mind is leading a major new project called the Blue Light Programme, which is dedicated to helping support the mental health of emergency services personnel, so both staff and volunteers working within the search and rescue service, the fire service, ambulance and then the police services across England. The programme will focus on raising awareness and tackling stigma within the services, building resilience to help search and rescue personnel manage their mental health, providing training for team managers and team leaders, and providing information support to all who need it. This webinar and others in the series have been specifically made for emergency services personnel. In this webinar, we will talk about what is mental wellbeing and what affects our mental wellbeing, how to build resilience and stay mentally well, and then sharing some tips on how to manage your mental wellbeing whilst working within the search and rescue service. So when we talk about mental well-being, we're talking about a term that describes our mental state, so how we are feeling and how well we can cope with day-to-day life. Our mental well-being can change from day to day, month to month, or year to year. If you have good mental well-being or good mental health, you are usually able to feel relatively confident in yourself and judge yourself on reasonable and realistic standards. You can feel and express a range of emotions. You can also feel engaged with the world around you, and you can build and maintain positive relationships and also contribute to your community. And then it's also about living and working productively and being able to cope with the stresses of daily life, including managing times of change and uncertainty. In terms of poor mental health, we all have times when we experience periods of low mental well-being, when we can feel sad or stressed or find it difficult to cope. These times can be due to life events, so experiencing a bereavement or experiencing changes in your circumstances, but sometimes there is no obvious reason why we experience poor mental health. However, we do know that there are some common factors or triggers that can contribute to this. So if you're living with a long-term physical health condition, if you're experiencing a relationship breakdown or financial issues or poor living conditions, being out of work or experiencing social isolation or loneliness or experiencing discrimination, or if you're having to care for a family member or friend, that also can take its toll. And then if you experience significant trauma as an adult, such as being involved or witnessing a serious incident or being a victim of a violent crime, for example. Mind's Blue Light research has shown that emergency service personnel are more likely to experience a mental health problem than the general population, but they are less likely to take time off of work as a result. So this suggests that the nature of the profession means that you are more likely to be exposed to challenging working conditions and traumatic events. But it seems that there are some barriers to you then seeking support when you need it and feeling comfortable to take time off if you are struggling. And we also know that one of the biggest challenges faced by people working within the search and rescue service is balancing your family life with your roles and responsibilities. So the fact that you never know when you might get a call out, it can happen at any time and anywhere. And how do you then balance that with your family commitments and so on? So if you do experience low levels of mental well-being over a long period of time, you are more likely to develop a mental health problem. And then if you are already living with a mental health problem, such as depression or anxiety, you are more likely to experience periods of low mental well-being linked to that than obviously someone who isn't living with that kind of condition. However, you can still have periods of good mental health where you are able to manage your condition and live your life without becoming unwell. So it's important to know that just because you experience a mental health problem, it doesn't mean you cannot live a full and successful life. So whether you have a mental health condition or not, there may be times or situations in your life that are more difficult than others to cope with. So the capacity to stay mentally well during those times is called resilience. So Mind's model of resilience promotes the idea of doing stuff that promotes well-being in yourself and then about how you build your social capital, and then how to apply psychological coping strategies. So the following are some ways you might be able to develop and strengthen your resilience so that you can deal with everyday life and face difficult situations without becoming unwell. But I will say that we are all individuals, so there may be other things that keep you well, that work for you, so to speak. So take notice of what helps you most and try and build that into your everyday life. So in terms of promoting well-being, first and foremost, I think it's really important to look after your physical health, and ensure that you get good sleep, you get sufficient sleep, you're eating well, and you're taking part in physical activity. There's huge links between your physical health and your mental health. So taking part in exercise, especially outdoors, can really boost your sense of well-being. So also thinking about, the stuff that you enjoy doing. It could be cooking, gardening, spending time with your friends, whatever pastimes or hobbies that you have that make you feel relaxed and boost your sense of well-being can be really helpful. And then also thinking about how you can do something for others. So this idea of, giving or volunteering, again, can really help with your sense of well-being. And then making sure you relax and have downtime, especially when you might be, experiencing pressure at work and so on. So making sure that your personal time is relaxing and helps you recharge. In terms of building social capital, what we mean by this is just about ensuring you've got a support network around you. So friends or family or colleagues at work. So just building up that kind of network of support that you can draw upon if you are struggling. And then linked to this is then feeling comfortable and able to talk about the way you're feeling if you are experiencing a problem. So again, talking to your friends, perhaps going to your GP, or speaking to a team leader or the chaplain within your search and rescue service can then help you kind of get the support you need. In terms of psychological coping strategies, these are about techniques such as meditation or mindfulness, where it's about trying to be present in the moment and trying to address any fears or concerns that you might have. This can really be beneficial to your mental health. And then also maybe looking into talking treatments or other approaches that can help you have a more positive approach and so on to managing your mental health. So in terms of how you manage your mental health while working within the search and rescue service, this is quite a highly responsible role and can be pressurised at times. So having good mental health is really important. You need to feel confident and motivated to perform well in your role. So linked to this is being able to effectively engage with and support your team members while also still being able to undertake your tasks, linked to your role. So the following are some suggestions to help you improve your mental health now, or maybe to use at a time when you find yourself struggling. So as I was saying before, really developing and maintaining good relationships with the team members you work with so you can build up a network of support is really key. If you are experiencing issues with work, finding a way to voice your frustrations about the role or about any workplace issues can be helpful, but trying to be constructive in how you approach that. And then also, as I said, feeling comfortable to ask for help. If you feel your responsibilities are too much or that you can't cope at the moment, take the opportunity to discuss it with your team leader. If you can't resolve the problem and it relates to unrealistic expectations, then talk to other relevant members of staff who can help you hopefully address that issue. And then in terms of how to cope during tough times, I will say that we all experience tough times, and it's really important not to put too much pressure on yourself to carry on as normal. You may need to take some time out so you can recharge and recuperate and rebuild up your resilience. And as I said, saying no to requests being made of you if you really feel you can't accommodate them. And then trying to get enough sleep and eating well, as I said before, will really help maintain your mental health. And I think what's important, if you are feeling that it's a difficult time, learning to accept that you don't have to be perfect and in control all the time, and understanding that. So if you are at a point where you are feeling overwhelmed, I would say that taking action, however small, will help you. So try and take control by being proactive. Think about what you need. think about what's happening at the moment that you're really struggling with, and try and think about some things that might be helpful for your workplace to put in place to help you manage or to support you, and then communicating that with your team leader and so on. And then also talking to someone you trust about what is causing you a problem or making you feel stressed, and seeing if they can, offer any support around that. And then, as I said, speaking up if you need help. And then being assertive and saying no if you need to around extra demands. And if everything is starting to feel overwhelming, take a deep breath, try and get away from the situation for a few minutes, going out for a walk, as I said before, exercise, and also getting out in daylight can be really good for your mental health as well as your physical health. So if you are feeling that moment of stress, as I said, maybe going for a walk would help. And then make sure you drink enough water during the day and that you eat during the day to maintain your energy levels. And a great anecdote to stress is, learning some relaxation techniques. So Mind has developed a booklet that's available on our website, which talks about how to manage stress, which has some useful tools and techniques within that. So in terms of seeking support, there are a range of support services available for anybody wanting to talk to someone about their mental health or about any concerns that they may have, whether it is about work, relationships, health, or money or other issues. So in the first instance, maybe speaking to a team member or your team leader will be most beneficial if they are aware of mental health and its kind of interaction with the role that you perform. I will say that a large part of what the Blue Light programme is trying to achieve is ensuring search and rescue services feel able to promote a more open culture of acceptance and support around mental health to ensure you and your team members can get the right kind of support at the right time. So, seeking support from your team leader is quite important. There are also many sources of support available which you may find helpful, such as going to your GP or calling Mind's Blue Light info line. Details of all of this will be given at the end of the webinar, so you know where to go to access these resources and so on. So we hope that you've found viewing this webinar helpful. We've produced additional webinars in this series entitled Mental Health Awareness and Managing Mental Health in the Workplace. The Mental Health Awareness webinar talks about mental health conditions and then also about the treatment and support that's available, just so you understand a bit more about these conditions. And then Managing Mental Health in the Workplace talks more about, what your employer should be doing to promote a mentally healthy workplace for you, and both of which are available to view now. Please also take a few moments to give us your feedback by completing the short survey that immediately follows this webinar. It's really important to us and it will help us ensure the programme meets your needs. And Mind has created a whole host of resources specifically for the Blue Light services and their personnel that cover these topics in greater detail. So these are available to you and your team members, so please share the guidance as it may be of help to someone. So we are determined to reach as many search and rescue personnel as we possibly can, so please ensure your team members are made aware of the Blue Light programme and the support and services we have available, and of course these webinars. Thank you for watching.